Tobias Trevelyan. Welcome to Upfront. How are you?
Oh man, I'm in the game and still playing.
I'm loving the
How's everything?
background. I'm so loving the back. Is that Billie Holiday in the background?
Yeah, we
Like Malcolm
got
X?
Billy. I caught this one right here. This is
Sidney
that's Sidney
Poitier?
Poitier. Call Me Mr. Tibbs. That's actually an original poster. I got that in Seattle. This is another original piece by Eugene White, done in '66 of X. Then I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you got the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the SNCC. I don't know, people that know their
Yeah.
civil rights history. SNCC,
Yeah.
SNCC was very, very intertwined in the movement. And then I don't know if you can see this, but this was I think he's still alive, but this is Sir Shadow, who is an artist from Harlem,
Okay.
and his work is one line, so it's like all one line.
Oh
He
wow.
never lifts the pen
That's
or the
amazing.
marker.
That is amazing. So the radio station that this show airs on is WCLK 91.9, and we're located on the campus of Clark Atlanta University. And one of the main streets for CAU is SNCC. So I'm very familiar with yeah.
So you know about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my dear friends and mentor, he was part of the SNCC movement back then. My friend Junius Williams. So I learned a lot of the history about SNCC that I didn't even really know working with him and doing film projects and stuff, because we used to do some documentary work, just in the educational realm up at Rutgers. And it was always about, empowering the youth. We had a youth media symposium, and we were teaching young filmmakers how to, use the power of media. And, he always talks about his history in SNCC. So
Yeah.
I really didn't know too much about SNCC and the boycott movement and all that stuff. So bus boycotts. I mean, I knew about the bus boycotts, but I didn't know about SNCC.
Yeah, there's so many stories out there that I think that we don't really know. We just kind of know the stories that are on the surface, but there were so many individuals that were a part of that movement, and really because it was a machine. So you had the wheels, you had the steering, all of that stuff. It was so many components to that movement. So yeah. Well, look.
Yeah, and it was down for the cause.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations on Sisters. We've been watching that show for the last couple of weeks now. My sister and I, we tune in every Wednesday. If we can't catch it, we DVR it. But we're always tuning in and seeing what is going on. And this is the final week of the first season. And so excited to talk to you about that. But before we talk about that, I want to kind of go back. When did you know that acting was your passion and your destiny? Because you've been doing this for a very long time. I went back and I was kind of looking at your resume, and I was like, man, this dude has been around for a long time. You've done a lot of theater, a lot of smaller projects. You did some soap opera stuff with Tika Sumpter. So you've been on your grind for a long time. Top Dog, Underdog, an amazing show. And so when did you know that this was your passion?
Oh man. Well, I started like in the fashion world. I was doing a lot of fashion. I was modeling. I was doing runway, and I was doing a lot of catalog work and editorials and stuff. And I got bit by that acting bug up in the National Black Theater up in Harlem, the NBT. And once I got bit by that acting bug, it was just like, wow, I really gravitated towards it, because it was something that I could really separate myself from the rest of the pack. Because in the fashion world, there's only so many jobs for brothers, and then you got especially being in New York, you look at a catalog, you got 4 or 5, models in there, you got one brother that's in there, then you got all the best looking brothers in the city going after this one job. Yeah. And even when they look at you and you go on an audition in fashion, they're looking at your portfolio. Well, you used to have a hard copy portfolio back then, and they would barely even look at you. They hand you back your card or your portfolio and be like, next. So when I got into the acting and I would audition for theater or whatever it was, I was like, wow, I can insert my personality into this and I could really shine. So it was like, that's when I really got the passion. I would say that was probably like maybe around 2000, you know, as far as film and theater and just the Black community, the Black theater community that I was introduced to going to Harlem really embraced me and really, you know, showed me the roots and really, you know, showed me the craft and all the people that came before me and just the history of the work and where we were. So that's when it kind of really started saying like, oh man, this is something that I want to do other than this fashion thing. You know, I still would do the fashion because I was working and stuff, but it was like, man, I really loved acting and taking on these roles. You know, I just loved it. I loved it.
You have a knack for being able to play so many different characters. I mean, you can be the bad guy, you can be the good guy, you can be the guy that we, you know, have compassion for, and the guy that we love to hate. So how can you, because those are all different personalities. You know, you're taking on all different personalities. How do you juggle those different personalities?
Oh man, I think all characters are a part of you. It's just finding out who that character is inside that world. And once you understand the rules of that world, then you can, you know, bring, you know, life to that, because every bad guy, you know, doesn't wake up in the morning saying, oh man, you know, how am I gonna take over the world? You know, there's stuff in there that makes them very human, that makes it very authentic. And that's always my goal, is to make it as natural and authentic as possible. I think also, you know, my appearance, my physical appearance does a great job as far as, I think, bad guys and stuff, because it's kind of had this kind of cool exterior, but then, you know, he's doing all this other weird stuff that might throw, you know, a bad guy might be doing, and it just gives it a nice juxtapose to the, you know, the evil guy that you could just tell as soon as you see him, he's like, oh, this guy's bad, you know. But it's just borrowing from life, borrowing from people that have seen character studies, just applying myself, being 100% committed to whatever character that I play, and having fun with it, being creative and having that imagination to just try something that might not be on the page, or, you know, learn who this guy is as I'm going down that journey, and just keep trying to color in and change and evolve, and have the freedom of being vulnerable in front of the camera. And that's like the main thing for us, is to be vulnerable. And that's a lesson to learn sometimes for some actors, because it's, you know, we have such a facade up throughout our day, walking through the world, that, you know, you have to be vulnerable, you have to be open, you have to be able to feel it all. And the more and more I learn about that for myself, the more and more effective I am as an actor.
How much fun have you had playing this character on Sisters? Because this is, you know, this guy is, we're like, oh my God, he's, you know, at first, like you said, he was someone that we thought that she could trust, but then over time, it was just like, this guy is a snake. This guy is horrible. Yeah. You do it so well. Yeah. So how much fun have you had playing this character?
Oh man, it's so much fun. Tyler Perry works extremely fast, meaning there's not a lot of room for discovery. Sometimes you get into a scene and, you know, you're running lines back and forth, or you're rehearsing, or you're doing a scene actually that's being shot. And as you're going through the process, you might discover something, or do something, or see something that you can add into the scene for the next take and the next take after that. But Tyler, you only get pretty much like 1 or 2 takes. Okay. So just that, you know, movement and that energy and the pressure of that is extremely fun. You know, there's a ton of young actors that are on the show, a couple that I knew, some that I didn't know. So the way they brought me in here was, you know, to kind of stir it up and kind of, you know, it's like, you know, I could look at, you know, when I was on Empire and I've been a working actor, and they hired me for that job because they knew my resume and stuff. But I'm sure when, you know, Terrence and Taraji and some of the, you know, more veteran actors, seasoned actors, you know, they could see where I'm at. You know what I mean? They can sense, you know, where I'm at. So I kind of, at the same time, being a little bit more seasoned to some of them, I could feel and sense where they're at. So I'm able to, add in that kind of flavor that needs, need for that environment, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, no,
So
it makes absolute sense. Yeah.
yeah. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun working with KJ. She's beautiful as hell, and our chemistry is popping, and there's a trust. There's a really good trust there that, all right, we're gonna, just try something, and it works. And I look forward to, once we get past this pandemic, to getting back to work, and hopefully Morris makes it around for season 2.
Yeah. Let's talk about. I don't know if you can see that Mahogany. You recently.
Oh,
Can you see that?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see it now. Yeah.
You recently sort of did a tribute to the film and to its stars, where you reenacted the very last scene of the film. You were portraying Brian Walker, who was so famously portrayed by Billy Dee Williams, the iconic movie star, and of course, opposite Diana Ross in that film. What was it about Mahogany that just really captured your attention? Because like you, she was my first crush as well, my first superstar crush. And so what was it about the film that just made you just, fall in love with it?
Oh man, I mean, I love Diana Ross. I love Diana Ross. Like I said, she was my first crush. I remember being at the her Central Park concert as a little man, and on my mother's shoulders, and she was like, "I want muscles," and I used to have my arms out like, "Yeah." And I remember really Diana Ross was like that crush to me. But it's just that iconic classic movie, and then you're talking about one of our, superb actors of all times, one of the greatest leading men that we've ever seen, as far as range, his swag, his charisma, everything, and it was Billy Dee. And I have a big love. I'm a photographer too, so I have a love for photography. So it was just a way for me to kind of teach the youth about some of our iconic figures that they might not really know about, without having to knock them over the head with, information. So it's like kind of trying to deliver the information in a cool way so that they can grasp onto it and say, oh man, Mahogany, I never knew that movie. Oh, Billy Dee, I don't know who that is. Or Diana Ross, who's that? And that kind of sparks that conversation where the youth can actually go in and do the research and learn about the history. And that's really always the purpose behind, these Tobias tributes that I've done, is to kind of just paint a picture for the youth so that they can learn about our history without having to, rub them the wrong way, per se. Kind of like, sometimes you hear it from a different perspective or a different angle, and it makes you pay attention. So that was the idea of that. And then that last scene, I had 2 scenes. I don't want to give away the second one, but I can tell you, I had I wanted to do it in a fashion sequence. The other scene where the photographer is taking a picture of all the models behind the house. So I have an idea of doing that in the fashion sequence, but we landed on doing the last scene for Mahogany, iconic scene where Diana Ross finds her, gets back to the neighborhood, gets her husband, her man back.
Yeah.
And it's just a real story. It's a story that I've seen in real life, dealing with the inner city, with politics and career, and just that real natural, real thing that we live, choices that we make, how do we fulfill our dreams but still, find love? How do we protect our community but not forget who we are? So it's all those things, combination of all those things that make Mahogany such a great movie and make it so relatable to us as Black folks and people in this country.
I know that you were in a film called Supermodel, which was kind of a Mahogany-esque kind of a movie. But I heard that Suzanne DePass is thinking about, or at least last time I talked with her, which was some years back, that they were looking to do a remake of Mahogany. Would you?
Oh man, I would love that. I mean, there's a ton of great actors out there, some of my peers and friends, but I would love, love, love to give Mahogany my all and bring that love story to life. I would love to do that.
Would you modernize it, or would you take it back to the 70s? Because she was thinking of doing a modern day twist to the story.
I would love to maybe, I just don't, I mean, I think about the film and I wouldn't want the digital aspect of our world to invade, you know, that kind of communication that we had back in the day. Maybe we could do it in the 90s, or maybe we could do it in a different era. But there was something about, you know, pre-cell phones or the birth of cell phones that we still had a very real connection with people. We still had a very, you know, deep, rooted, you know, vibe with each other. And I think Mahogany, I think that type of film needs that. You know, not that it's impossible to portray love in the digital world, but I don't know, something about that picture. If I see a cell phone, you know, whatever, it's gonna take me away from the real deal. But you never know. You know, you never know.
Absolutely. Well, Tobias, thank you so much for being a guest today on Upfront. And again, congratulations on Sisters and all that you have been working on and doing. Again, we've been watching you. We've been seeing and just
Yeah, man.
to see all that you have been doing. Again, you've played such a variety of characters, and we can't wait. When I say we, the Black community, we can't wait to see your career, you know, continue to soar, because I see that for you. I really do. I mean, your
Oh
range.
man, I love y'all, man, for real. And you know, I try to apply myself, you know, to our community and our family and our people just as much as I commit myself to my craft and my career. And I think that's a really, you know, balance. There's a nice balance that you have to find between that. And I think for the rest of the artists that are out there that are coming up, you know, as far as you rise in your career, to make sure that you throw that rope back and you pull others with you and you spread your art as much as you can. And in return, you know, God will open up doors that you know, never even thought would be there for you. So, you know, respect the craft, do the work, but don't forget the people along the way. And I promise you that you and I will be working together and you will be doing big things, bigger and better than I ever could.
Absolutely. Tobias, thank you
Yeah.
so much, man, and have a great one. Be safe out there.
All right, man. Peace, brother.